Success is achieved and maintained by those who try and keep trying. Clement Stone. My friends, each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes. That's all we ask. Everything up for the day. Not a big up day, but everything in the green. Let's talk first about the S&P 500. We look at where we are. Here now closing. We've got a few more minutes while the market's open, but, volume. We are just about where we were last week. We've got one more day to go. If it's a big Friday, yes, volume could reach the average, which is the black line on our charts. We can see where we have reached a higher high for the week. Not a big candle compared to last week's. A little bit smaller in the week before. And the week before that, we have to go all the way back to the week starting the 16th of January to find a candle a little smaller than this one. Not much of a wick on top. We look at where we are on the 2-day. We have almost a doji in the prior one. And the one that finishes drawing today is a spinning top. We got movement, of course, on both sides. We can see where things really dropped heavy on Tuesday, up a little bit on Wednesday, up more, 0.56%, so a little over 0.5% for the day. But again, just keeps moving in the right direction. We're still long on the S&P. What about the NASDAQ 100? Again, moving up some for the week. Not a huge candle, about the size of the week 2 weeks ago. We look at where we're on volume, below average. Again, it could move up enough tomorrow if the market's really sore. Look at where we are on, we had a spinning top before, a doji this time. And of course, higher than average volume, which means what on the 2-day? Means that somebody's trying to move it up and a lot of people are trying to move it down. And we have just a little spinning top there. And again, really a doji. So what does that mean? That means you've got lots of indecision and lots of volume. Could mean insiders are selling and the dummies are buying. We'll see. We can see where things on the half-day chart moving up in the morning, a little more up in the afternoon, but not really much, 0.19%. Now, we are, and by the way, we're still long on the NASDAQ 100, and we're paying attention. Let's look at where we are on 20-year U.S. government bonds. Of course, we are in a down move. We are red in that. We are short. And of course, to go short in bonds, the easiest way for you to practice trade that is TBF, Tango Bravo Foxtrot. That is, of course, the inverse fund for bonds. Tango Bravo Foxtrot. There we go, TBF. And of course, lo and behold, it's moving up as its underlying asset, TLT, moves down. That's what short or inverse funds are all about. Now, the reason I want you to practice trade those is they're more expensive related to them. They are repriced each day, many of them, most of them. And of course, they can magnify your losses if you don't know what you're doing, if you move in the wrong direction. So it's worth practice trading. Remember, not a stock calling service. We're an education firm. We see for the day, 20-year bonds right now are up 0.46%. We can see where things bottomed out there on Tuesday, turned around a little bit on Wednesday, and then up in the morning and pulling back some. Still got a few more minutes, another 20 minutes. He could go into the red, but probably not likely. But not much happening still. Of course, we're still short on bonds. What about gold? Gold up a little bit more, 0.65%. We see up in the morning, pulling back a little bit in the afternoon. Good bit of volume in the morning. But as we look at the 2-day chart, look at that. Above average volume in the last 2-day candle. This latest one, average volume. Already almost up to average volume, and it's not Friday yet on the weekly. And a decent sized candle compared to the prior one, so we are still short gold after we bounced off this ceiling that we've seen gold bounce off many, many times before, all the way back to May of last year. Then we'll look at HODL. What is that? HODL. It's the new Van Eck Bitcoin Trust. After they closed XBTF, which is what we traded for such a long time, practice traded. Now, what do we see going on here? Of course, a week of a great deal of up movement. Not much for the day, 0.22% on the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart that we've been using until we get 20 weeks because our moving average is based on 20 weeks, or 20 periods. That's why we already have a moving average on the half-day chart. Don't have one yet. Oh, wait a minute. We also have one now on the 2-day. So wait a second. I'm sorry. I'm forgetting. This is HODL. Okay. We do have I was like, when did that happen? We do have more than 20. You can see right here when we first hit 20 and started getting a moving average, you can see when you look at volume, it's 20 periods. Now it's 20 periods here on the 2-day and on the weekly too, and we got to have 20 weeks. We're not there yet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've got another couple of weeks, and we'll have a moving average at least on the 2-day, and we'll be waiting to get one on the weekly. But going back to the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart, we can, of course, see as we look at things, we had average volume last week, the week before, above average volume when we found the low with that red down candle, and then things reversed. Still got a ways to go. Even with all this up movement, we don't have the volume to back it up. So could speculators be knocking that up? What can be doing that? Interesting question. If you understand volume, you've taken our training. All the stuff we teach about what Jesse Livermore taught and believed, all the stuff that we have at the website and that we share with you in our trainings. I'm going to put another volume training at the end of today's video for you. I hope that you pay close attention to that and get a lot from it, because it's so important to understand how volume works with price. Volume and price together show you whether moves are fake outs many, many times. I mean, nothing's perfect in the market, but it gives you such insight into what the potentials are that are happening. When you see lots of volume and you see a small candle and a large wick on top, what is that telling you? Well, you see what happened after. Did that portend what might be coming? Yes, it sure can. And when you see all this volume and a small candle and a down move, and then it goes to green, what's that telling you? Again, other messages are in there. So it's important to understand volume, to understand Heikin-Ashi candlesticks and how they work together. So critically important. So what's Bitcoin doing? Not much for the day. Up a little bit in the morning, pulling back in the afternoon on our Bitcoin ETF. Now remember, just between the ETF and the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart is it's traded 24 hours a day. The ETF only during market hours. And it's an ETF that tracks Bitcoin. Okay, so we will continue to pay attention. Again, we are still long on Bitcoin, and that has been beautiful since things turned around and started moving up. Of course, we started that week at an opening of 41,909, and the high for this week, 52. 2 weeks later, 52,884. Bitcoin is fascinating. And again, chart is getting better. Still not a great chart. Not a great chart like the S&P is, or the Qs, or even TLT 20-year bonds most of the time in gold. This one, a lot harder for us. But I do like the way this 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart looks when it comes to gold. A little bit easier than trying to figure out, and again, this doesn't go as far back as what we had before, but that chart has disappeared, so I can't even use it for reference, the old XBTF. But that is where we are, folks, as we end the day. Patreon members, your weekly vertical crossovers has already been posted at your Patreon page, along with your early access to charting cryptos, commodities, and currencies, which will be released tomorrow for everyone, and 3-wave trades exclusively for our Patreon members. Those are liquid stocks with liquid options and liquid ETFs with liquid options from our list that we cull for you each and every week. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.